Alright folks, welcome to the channel. Jay here, and man, have we got a wild one for you today. We're peeling back the layers on one of the most notorious, most secretive organizations on the planet, the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. You think you know about them from movies or news headlines? Trust me, what's out there is just the tip of the iceberg, a carefully curated image that barely scratches the surface of what these guys are really about. We're talking about a level of mystique and an ironclad code of silence that's kept the world guessing for decades. Today, we're not just scratching the surface, we're taking a damn jackhammer to it. I've been digging, talking to people, connecting dots, and what I've found is gonna blow your mind. We're about to reveal some truly shocking secrets, stuff the Hells Angels would probably prefer you never, ever hear. These aren't just rumors or speculation. This is the kind of information that paints a picture so complex, so contradictory, it'll make you question everything you thought you knew about brotherhood, loyalty, and life on the fringes of society. So, buckle up, grab a drink, get comfortable, because this is going to be a journey into the shadows. And I'm telling you, you're going to want to stick around until the very end. The final secret we're going to drop, it's a genuine jaw-dropper, the kind of thing that really puts everything else into perspective. You don't want to miss this one, believe me. Let's get into it. So you want to be a Hells Angel? Good luck, man. It's not like joining your local book club or signing up for a gym membership. This is a whole other level of commitment, a process so grueling and secretive, it makes CIA recruitment look like a walk in the park. First off, you can't just apply. You gotta be invited, sponsored by a member in good standing, who's willing to put their own reputation on the line for you. And that's just to get your foot in the door as a hangaround. Think of it as the longest, most intense job interview of your life, where every move you make, every word you say is scrutinized. You'll spend months, maybe even years as a hangaround, then a prospect, doing whatever the patched members ask. We're talking about grunt work, proving your loyalty, showing you're not a cop, not a liability, and that you truly bleed the club's colors. They're testing your mettle, your character, your willingness to put the club above everything else. And I mean everything. There are unwritten rules, spoken rules, and rules you only figure out when you break them. It's a psychological pressure cooker designed to weed out the weak, the untrustworthy, and anyone who isn't 1000% committed to the lifestyle. It's an insane level of dedication before you even get a sniff of that patch. Now, most people, when they think Hells Angels, they picture them thundering down some dusty American highway, right? Route 66, leather, Harleys, the classic outlaw image. And yeah, they're definitely a big part of American counterculture. But here's something that might surprise you. The Hells Angels are a global freaking phenomenon. This isn't just a US thing, not by a long shot. We're talking about charters in dozens of countries, man. From Canada and Brazil to Australia, New Zealand, all over Europe, Russia, Turkey, South Africa. Think about that. This organization, with its roots in post-war California, has managed to plant its flag on almost every continent. How does a group like that, often perceived as a tight-knit, localized brotherhood, expand to that kind of scale? It speaks to a level of organization, communication, and let's be honest, a shared ideology that resonates far beyond American borders. It's like a multinational corporation, but instead of selling widgets, they're selling a lifestyle, a brotherhood, an identity. And that global reach, that's a whole different kind of power, a different kind of influence that most people don't even realize exists. It's wild. You see these guys, right? Covered in patches, tattoos all over the place. It's not just random decoration, man. It's a language, a visual resume of who they are, what they've done, and where their loyalties lie. That death head logo? Instantly recognizable. But then you've got the Filthy Few patch or the Diquio patch. Those tell a much more specific and often darker story. Each one has a meaning, a significance that's understood by those in the know, and often deliberately misunderstood or ignored by outsiders. And the tattoos, man, the ink is deep. It's not just about looking tough. It's about permanent commitment, a visual testament to their allegiance. Certain symbols, numbers like 81 for HA, H being the 8th letter of the alphabet, A being the first, are all part of this intricate code. It's a way of communicating status, history, and warnings without saying a word. Think about the level of dedication it takes to permanently mark your body with symbols that could, in some circles, make you a target. It's a powerful statement, a visual fuck you to the mainstream world, and a way of instantly recognizing friend from foe. It's easy to paint the Hells Angels with one broad stereotypical brush, right? The leather-clad outlaw living outside the law, no ties to the straight world. And sure, that image exists for a reason, and there's definitely a hardcore element that embraces that fully. But here's a secret that kind of messes with that neat little picture. A lot of these guys have regular lives. I'm talking about dudes with 9-to-5 jobs, mortgages, families, kids they gotta get to soccer practice. It's a side you rarely see. A side that doesn't fit the sensational headlines. Think about it. Running a global organization, maintaining clubhouses, organizing events, that takes a certain level of stability and, dare I say, normalcy for some members. You'll find guys who are mechanics, small business owners, construction workers, you name it. They pay taxes, they mow their lawns. It doesn't mean they're not 100% committed to the club, but it shows a complexity that's often overlooked. It's a duality, living in two worlds, and it makes you wonder how they balance that. It shatters that simplistic outlaw caricature and reveals something much more nuanced. When you're part of a group that prides itself on being outside the mainstream, you can bet they've got their own way of handling things. The Hells Angels have a strict internal code of conduct, a set of rules that every member is expected to live by. And if you break those rules, well, you're not getting a strongly worded email from HR, let me tell you. They have their own system of justice, their own way of enforcing discipline, and it can be swift and severe. This isn't about calling the cops if a brother steps out of line. It's handled in-house, often behind closed doors, away from prying eyes. The penalties for infractions can range from fines or warnings for minor stuff to more serious consequences for betraying the club's trust or breaking sacred rules. It's about maintaining order, loyalty, and the integrity of the brotherhood. This internal discipline is a massive part of what holds the club together, ensuring that members adhere to the unspoken and spoken tenets that define what it means to be an angel. It's a world with its own laws and its own enforcers. Here's one that'll probably make some people spit out their coffee. The Hells Angels. Doing charity work? Yeah, you heard that right. It's a side of the club that's rarely, if ever, publicized by the mainstream media. Probably because it doesn't fit the scary biker narrative. But it happens. We're talking about toy runs for underprivileged kids at Christmas, fundraising events for local causes, supporting veterans. It's a facet of the club that's almost completely hidden from public view. Yet it's there. Now, cynical people might say it's just a PR stunt, a way to improve their image. And maybe there's an element of that, who knows? But for a group that often thumbs its nose at public opinion, it's an interesting contradiction. It shows a community-minded aspect, a desire to give back that clashes wildly with their outlaw reputation. Whether it's genuine altruism or something more calculated, the fact remains they do engage in these activities. It just goes to show you, man, things are rarely black and white, especially when you're looking at a group as complex as this one. Alright, so we've talked about the brotherhood, the internal rules, even a bit of charity. But let's not kid ourselves. There's a very real, very dangerous side to this world. The rivalries. The Hells Angels have long-standing, often violent feuds with other motorcycle clubs. We're talking about groups like the Banditos, the Outlaws, the Mongols. These aren't just casual disagreements over who has the cooler bikes. These are deep-seated, territorial disputes that can span decades and continents. These rivalries can erupt into full-blown wars, with ambushes, bombings, and tragic loss of life on all sides. It's about turf, respect, business, and sometimes just pure, unadulterated hatred. The concept of patches being taken, clubhouses being attacked, it's a brutal reality of this subculture. The loyalty demanded by the Hells Angels extends to fighting and sometimes dying for the club against its enemies. It's a stark reminder that beneath the mystique and the brotherhood, there's a constant undercurrent of conflict and danger that members live with every single day. You think a group with the reputation and history of the Hells Angels just gets to ride around unbothered? Not a chance, man. Law enforcement agencies around the world dedicate massive resources to monitoring them. We're talking surveillance, undercover operations, informants, the whole 9 yards. Task forces are specifically set up to investigate their activities, from local police departments all the way up to federal agencies like the FBI and ATF in the States, and their equivalents internationally. These guys are constantly under the microscope. Their clubhouses are watched, their phones are potentially tapped, their public events are heavily policed. Law enforcement is always looking for an angle, trying to build cases, often focusing on alleged criminal enterprises. It's a perpetual cat-and-mouse game. The Angels know they're being watched, and that constant pressure shapes how they operate, how they communicate, and how they vet new members. It adds another layer of intensity to an already intense lifestyle, knowing that one wrong move could bring the full weight of the law down on them. The Hells Angels Clubhouse. For members, it's a sanctuary, a home base, a sacred space. For outsiders, it's a fortress, shrouded in secrecy and strictly off-limits. You don't just walk into a Hells Angels Clubhouse uninvited, ever. These places are often unassuming from the outside, but heavily fortified from within. Security cameras, reinforced doors, and members who are always vigilant. They guard these spaces fiercely. What goes on inside? That's one of their most closely guarded secrets. Club meetings, church as they sometimes call it, happen there. It's where decisions are made, disputes are settled, and the business of the club is conducted. It's where they socialize, bond, and reinforce the ties of brotherhood. The clubhouse is more than just a building. It's the heart of the charter. The level of privacy they maintain speaks volumes about their desire to operate on their own terms, away from prying eyes. It's their world, governed by their rules, and you're only getting in if you're one of them. So, we've talked about how hard it is to get into the Hells Angels. But what about getting out? Well, if you leave on good terms, with the club's blessing, that's one thing. Rare, but possible. But if you're expelled, if you're kicked out in bad standing, man, that's a whole different and terrifying ballgame. This isn't like getting fired and just moving on to the next job. Expulsion from the Hells Angels is permanent, and it's often a very, very dramatic process. There's no coming back from it. When a member is cast out, especially for a serious offense like betraying the club, being an informant, or stealing from brothers, the consequences can be severe. They're stripped of their patches, sometimes forcibly. Their name becomes mud. They might even have their club-related tattoos blacked out or covered over, a painful and humiliating process. They become persona non grata, not just to their former charter, but to Hells Angels worldwide. It's a brutal and definitive end to a life they dedicated themselves to, a stark warning to everyone else about the price of disloyalty. This, to me, is one of the most intense secrets, that the Brotherhood, so fiercely protected, can turn so decisively against one of its own. Whew! Alright, that was a hell of a ride, wasn't it? 10 secrets, 10 glimpses into a world that few ever get to see. The Hells Angels. Love them, hate them, fear them. You can't deny they're a fascinating, complex, and enduring subculture. From the insane dedication it takes to earn a patch, to their surprising global reach, and even their quiet charity work, it's clear there's way more to these guys than the headlines usually suggest. And that final point about expulsion, man, that just shows the intensity of the commitment and the consequences of breaking it. So, what do you guys think? Which of these secrets genuinely shocked you the most? Was it the strict membership, the global reach, the charity, or something else entirely? Drop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. I read them all, and I'm genuinely curious to hear what resonated with you. This is the kind of stuff we love to explore here, digging deep and getting you thinking. And hey, if you want more deep dives like this, more explorations into the hidden corners of our world, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. We've got a lot more to uncover. Thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out. Stay curious, stay questioning. Peace.